It is too goddamn hot outside. I like the heats. I like summer. But what's happening right now? This is too much. Record-breaking temperatures all around the world. I'm melting. So if you need an excuse to stay inside and enjoy your air conditioning just like myself, well boy, I've got the perfect one for you. On this season, the sloppy, slutty summer season, we've been trying to handpick horror flicks that are easily digestible to fall into this heat wave, and I find slashers always do the best. Well, on this episode, we're picking a movie that is not only criminally underrated, but it displays some of the best kills within the slasher genre. We're talking about Joseph Zito's 1981 slasher, The Prowler. Not only do we get Joseph Zito, but we get the Wizard of Gore himself, Tom Savini, on the special effects. I really wish this movie got more love, so this is my attempt to do so. So wherever you're coming from in this world, welcome. We love you. And without any further introduction, here is our take on The Prowler. Boom! Welcome to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. I am your host and your scary movie companion. And the question is, to be or not to be, okay? Across from me is the best producer in the whole entire world. I mean, I actually looked all the way around. If you're familiar with the movie The Exorcist, how he searched for the statue in the desert and things, that's what I had to do to find Mark. That's what we had to do. We had to dig him up. Well, we got him here. We got him in the studio, and that's why things sound so great, okay? Ozark, Mark, how are you feeling down there?
I'm bloated.
He's bloated. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I ate a whole pizza.
Okay.
Before I came over here.
All right.
I shouldn't have done that, but it was like $8, so you know.
Sometimes it's worth it.
I'm a little bloated. I'm a little heavily gassy in the upper intestinal area. It's making me feel a little bit uncomfortable.
I'm feeling a little bit woozy here.
I'm feeling a little nauseous, but it's okay because I'm here. I'm getting the pizza sweats, but it's okay because we're here. Back again in the S season. What are we talking about?
Folks, we've got a fun movie today. All right? I know that you guys have been a big fan of this for a long time, all right? And you guys have been waiting for this one. Mighty Joe Young, giant monkey. He tears down a carnival. It's a lot of fun.
What the
he
fuck
befriends
are you
a kid.
talking about?
Mighty Joe Young, the big gorilla.
I've never seen that.
Oh, that's right. That's the other show for another time at a different... Look, what we're talking about today, folks, is The Prowler from director...
There's no S in the title.
Well, look...
Why did you put... No, you ruined the whole theme and joke.
I told you last week. We're just going to say it like an old black gentleman. Y'all watch The Prowlers? Yeah. I was watching The Prowlers last night.
The Prowlers.
Yeah, The Prowlers.
Y'all ever seen them Prowlers?
The Prowlers in them.
You watching that Prowlers?
That's what it was. So, anyways, this movie, The Prowlers, people, folks, it's really hard to describe or really put a good solid definition down here. So, of course, when you say slasher movie, you have these movies that kind of float to the top, right? You know, your Halloweens, your Friday the 13th, and even though a bit more paranormal and psychological, even A Nightmare on Elm Street fits in there, okay? I thought I was going to sneeze. I didn't sneeze. So you have these other movies within the slasher that kind of like are at the top of the podium. You remember that show Global Guts, how, you know, the person would stand on the top and hold the rock? That's what those movies do within the slasher genre. And below them, you have a couple like Sleepaway Camps and a couple honorable mentions that get mentioned a lot more often, like My Bloody Valentine. But underneath that, there are so many more, okay? There are so many more. Because let's be fair, if there was only about 8 or 9 movies, there wouldn't be a thing as a trope. There wouldn't be all these parody movies, like even all the way up to Scary Movie. You couldn't joke about all of these tropes because there'd only be a few movies. There were so many slashers that came out within the early 80s, and I would really say from about, I don't know, like 78, 81 really was a strong point to about 84. So 78 to 84, there was just so many of these goddamn movies. And there were some that were just as effective as others, but they maybe didn't have the best production rights. They didn't have like the best distribution people, and they just didn't turn out as well. But that doesn't mean that they were horrible flicks. And The Prowler fits into that category because not only do we have Joseph Zito, who directed this, same guy that gave us Friday the 13th Part 4, one of my favorite, probably my favorite, honestly, out of all the Friday the 13ths. Not only that, but we have special effects legend Tom Savini. All right, so they both pair, and who was also on Final Friday as well. He did the cool machete effect to Jason where his head was sliding down. Pretty cool. Everybody remembers that. So the kills in this are top tier. Now, I'm not telling you that there's a wide abundance of them or different varieties. This is really a lot of bayonet and a lot of pitchfork. All right, you get some shotgun blasts in there and you get some other things, but there's a lot of bayonet and a lot of pitchfork. And it's done brutally. There's a lot of brutalness in here. But I guess the point I'm making in a long-winded way is that there are so many movies within the slasher genre that kind of go unnoticed, and I kind of feel like this is definitely one of them, and I don't really know why. So, Mark, I'm assuming it's your first time seeing this.
Yes.
Let's hear some initial thoughts, what you were thinking.
Well, initial thoughts, really. This movie, The Prowlers, this is textbook to the point of 80s, early 80s slasher, like when you describe what it is. It starts out, okay, with a small little backstory. The first murder that kicked us all off that usually happens.
Somebody was wronged.
Somebody was wronged.
Uh-huh.
And then you got horny teenagers. You got the most oblivious people I've ever seen in a movie. You got
Masked killer,
correct. You got just clips of barely showing the killer, just his feet at some points.
A bunch of red herrings where you feel like, is it him? Is it him? Is
exactly.
It him?
the little twist who they make you believe it's somebody else, and then it turns out it was that person all along, and all that. You got some titties. You got great special effects. Brutal, slow, long kills.
Very
fucking
giallo.
Textbook. Yes, it was the most textbook horror movie slasher I think I've ever seen so far. Well, now you've seen a lot more than I have, but that's what I was thinking when I watched it.
I'm honestly gonna say this, and there's a book that I've quoted a lot from, like Adam Rockoff, The Horror of It All, and he kind of goes into. He did a chapter where he did like a Slaughter High, like it was a yearbook, like instead of like most likely to succeed or class clown, like he kind of like adapted the answers to like horror. And his best kill scene inside of a slasher movie was from The Prowler. It's the bayonet scene where old boy gets it to the top of his fucking head and it comes out of his chin. And then he goes to pull it out and his eyes roll back. I mean, it's brutal, dude. I mean, it is brutal. It still looks awesome. It's just one of those kills that... Because if you remember Dawn of the Dead, right? You remember that Tom Savini. He was in the movie. He was one of the bikers. And there was a lot of gore and killing in that, but they didn't have the paint right yet. The blood right. It was paint, You remember it just had like a... It was cool, but it looked different. It didn't look like real blood. This flick a little bit different. The blood is a little more realistic and it is flowing. But that bayonet scene through that guy's head is, that's just awesome. Like everybody's got to see that. Like if you're like, you know what, I'm not watching this movie, then please just watch that scene. Just watch that kill. It is so beautiful. It's like Tom Savini he's in his bag in these years. This isn't far off from him doing The Burning. The raft scene where you remember the raft scene where he popped out of the boat and cut everybody's fingers off and was slashing them up. Mm-hmm. He's just good at what he does, dude. He's just good at what he does in his prime. And I'm I like that there was a little World War II aspect to this as well. Like the history nerd in me is like, oh, I liked it. All right.
Yep.
I liked that part. I liked the little old school scenes. You know, it's weird to think. You know, here's a strange little brain buster for you. How long ago was like 1981?
40 years.
Right. How long ago was the 40s in 1981?
80 years or 40 years.
Right.
Something.
So we're 80 years off from the 40s, but at this time, it was 40 years off. So if we were to make a movie just like this, we'd be making a movie about the 80s.
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa. Whoa.
You're aging. You're getting old. And not to mention, it's the hottest month on record ever to be recorded in human history. Like you're living in it right now.
Right now?
Yeah.
I was wondering why the fuck it was so goddamn hot out.
Yeah, well, I mean, granted, they've only been keeping score for, probably 1,000 years or something.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple hundred even. I don't know how they would do it that accurately, pretense. But since they've been recording it, it's a hot one. The heat is on. Maybe we're not allowed to sing that. Maybe.
All right, stop fucking around. Give us a synopsis of the Prowler, please.
So, this movie, The Prowler, it starts off with a Dear John letter, all right? Why is it going to be John? Why is it going to poor John?
I don't know. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know. I don't know where the name Dear John came from, but that's what they call it when you write a letter to somebody when they're away, and then they leave you when they're away.
Mm-hmm.
I got one of those, but it was a phone call instead. I got a Dear John phone call.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But here's what's fucked up about this lady, all right? My boy is out saving America, all right? He's
America!
Not only America, my man is saving the world. He's saving the world from a global domination, all right? And you're going to write him a letter like, Dear John, I'm going to start getting back shots from this dude back at home who ain't in the war because he's a bum and he does drugs. Like, what the fuck, bitch? What the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
You're going to break this man's heart when he's out?
No, I'm not saying he should have went and killed all these people, but I understand.
Look, he was saving the world, and he came back, with the PTSD. He wasn't right. He couldn't put the pieces together. His girl Rosemary had left him. So this town, these murders take place where he comes back. Let me rephrase that. So we start off with a letter, okay? And then the next scene, we're at a big ball in the 40s still. It's a big ball. All these people are dancing. And that Rosemary girl that wrote that Dear John letter, she's out with this other little douchebag. And then she goes out to this little makeout spot at this gazebo. And then old boy pops up and stabs the shit out of him with a pitchfork, 2 in 1. All right, I love those scenes in horror movies. Jason's done it a couple times. Pitchforks, they're not exclusive to one people. I've heard people bitch like, oh, this is too much like this or that's too much. Fuck that, dude. Not one person gets a pitchfork. Pitchforks are for everybody. It's the devil.
Yeah.
Right? Or a trident, like an evil mermaid man, like, the Little Mermaid stab.
An evil mermaid man?
He comes at you.
Okay, I want to be that for Halloween now. Who the hell are you? I'm an evil mermaid man.
That's sick, dog. That's
sick. You don't have anything but a pitchfork on. I know.
Yeah, dude, but he means business, he's coming at you. So I think it belongs to anybody, and I don't like to hear that. It's almost like, a butcher knife or even the chainsaw. Like in a slasher movie, I think that your killer can be defined by one weapon, and that's generally kind of common for slashers, like you said. There's a little systematic, it's really hard if you think about it. Like, what's a slasher? Like, how do you really make it up? Well, folks, as Mark alluded to, you need a little backstory at the beginning. Something that says, this person was wrong, this is something bad had happened, now here's a legend that is created. Then we flash forward, we start getting some kills, we get, a final girl, generally always a final girl, somebody that outsmarts them, that's not as slutty as her, companions on screen.
Yep.
Sometimes guy, too. We're not going to count you out, Jesse, from A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. We're not going to count out some of the final guys throughout the, movies. But that being said, you need those, but usually your killer is masked. He's usually asexual, so this one kind of falls outside of the box. Like Michael Myers, he's not sexually motivated to kill people, or Jason's not trying to fuck. He's just out killing people because he just doesn't like you there. He just doesn't want you there. But
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know about the Prowlers. He might be upset, that is, I think he's upset because he wanted to fuck. I think that's what they call them, incels, involuntarily celibate. That's what they call them.
Are you
guys.
going to finish telling us about the movie or not?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
Okay, because you're going all off the rails here.
What's what we're talking about the movie?
I don't know what was it.
We're talking
Okay, so anyway, all right. Where were we in the synopsis, though? We were at what port? How far did we get?
He starts killing people at the gazebos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with the pitchfork.
That's right, the evil mermaid man. Got
Yeah.
it. Okay. So then he
Yeah.
kills that, and now we flash forward, and now we're in the 80s.
Yeah, and he's killing people. And like I said, it follows the slasher genre, except for the fact that I think he might be a little sexually frustrated, unlike some slasher villains. But people start dying one by one. All these people comes to find out. It's a very similar story to My Bloody Valentine. But, it turns out that this is old boy. It's the sheriff. You find out at the end it's the sheriff who's really done this. But it's because he's heartbroken after all these years because this girl went out with somebody else. The point's, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Kind of fucked up.
Right.
But the main part that you need to know is there's a man dressed up like a real creepy soldier from World War II, but his face is all covered, and he's killing you with a pitchfork and a bayonet.
His face looks like a really wrinkly vagina.
It do.
It does.
It do.
So that's what I thought of when I saw it. And I would run from that because you just don't know what would you do if you saw that.
Yeah, you gotta go.
I would run from that.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah, and he's kind of with it too. He's not big. He's not like a big clunky guy. He's sneaky sometimes.
Yeah.
Sneaking up behind yous.
Yeah, but he also is lucky because in this movie there are the most oblivious people I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
In any movie.
Bro.
In any movie.
What about the girl that got killed in the pool? We need to talk about this because this is so funny. So this girl's swimming. She don't realize that the Prowlers is watching her while she's swimming, and she's just swimming in her underwear. I don't understand why she did. I don't get it, but she's swimming in her underwear. She's swimming around, and this girl goes to get out the pool, and she gets kicked in the fucking face. And every time I watch it, I'm not expecting it. You're expecting a knife or some kind of
I didn't expect it either, man, and I just I lost it. I laughed. I literally laughed out loud. I was by myself watching it. I laughed out loud. She got just punted in the face.
And that's a realistic thing that could happen to somebody. So it's just oh, fuck.
Like an army boot.
Yeah.
To the face. Field goal kick to the face.
You can disconnect watching a bayonet go through somebody or their heads. Because you're just that's probably not going to happen to me. But you're I might get booted in the face.
Yeah, coming out of a pool. I don't want to swim up to a ladder ever again.
Well, she had no situational awareness. This girl was...
No, none of them did. The worst one was the main girl, blonde girl. She was the most oblivious of them all. It just... But then you know what? They do a good job when they irritate you. That's what horror movies are supposed to do. So what happens? So her and her roommate, she's in the shower. The main girl, she's ready for the ball. So whatever it is, the party, I don't know what they call it in the 80s. But... she's ready to go. Her friend's still in the shower. So she leaves. So she goes out and hangs out at the ball for some odd minutes, hours. I don't know how long she was there. She's had to be there for a long time.
She was mad because her boyfriend was dancing with that girl.
Yeah, her boyfriend was dancing with another girl. And she was mad about it, and she spilled punch on her dress. She's like, gets all huffy, and she's like, I gotta go change or whatever. So she goes back to her dorm. Now, she goes in, and the shower's still running. You were gone for like 20, 30 minutes tops, maybe an hour or two. It's like, who doesn't check? I would check.
Yeah, they're definitely beating it now.
I would definitely check.
Look
or
here.
Response or anything, but no, she's oblivious. But my favorite thing about it is that shower is running the entire movie.
I know.
And nobody does anything about it until the end.
The dad in you is like, motherfucker, who's ricing water? You know. But what's funny is there's like the deputy Mark. All right, deputy Mark, he's the guy that dates Pam, like the main final girl. And Mark is this funny, like, he's one of those dudes in the 70s that, like, your grandma wanted to marry. Like, or she wanted your, like, your daughter to, or, like, her daughter to marry. This dude looks like, you know, like Cillian Murphy from Red Eye and the Peaky Blinders. He kind of looks like him.
That's how I thought it was him at first. I was like, there's no way that's Cillian Murphy. I had to look it up. It's not.
Yeah, and this dude's kind of, like, not really known as well, but he also kind of has, like, that Michael Landon look. So it's just that old school funny dude, but he's I don't know, I just thought his approach was funny too, like the real humble, like, I'll make sure you're taken care of approach.
Yeah, he was oblivious too.
Oh, he was.
Hold on more.
Bro, how about at the end when she blasts off the dude's head, the Prowler's head?
Let's circle back to that. Let's talk about how funny, another part, that tell me you don't crack up when it's towards the final fight, and they're in that sheeted room, and she's about to get shot. But old dude comes in from the supermarket, the weird guy, who they think is the killer, make you think it's the killer. I forget his name in the movie, but he's like the weird guy that's always creeping around and stuff. He comes in, blasts the Prowler right in the middle of the chest, and blood gets on the wall, and he's like done, right? So then they start playing this happy music, and they're both like smiling at each other, and they're relieved. You're like, that can't be it. So, of course, what happens? The Prowler comes out with the double barrel and blasts him, and he just falls.
I mean, Zombieland told you the best.
You
got a double tap, bro.
That's I laughed at that, too, when he got blasted.
I did, too. Like, those shotgun blasts were awesome.
It was, but, yeah, his head getting blown off, pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like that.
Pretty sweet.
I like that a lot. I heard that they had like condoms with fake blood and apple cores, and that's what it made it look so crazy.
In the head?
Mm-hmm. Like the fake head was like filled with condoms with fake blood and apple cores.
How the fuck do you figure that out?
I don't know. Tom Savini, he's just doing his thing. That's what I mean. Like, I want to be a special effects guy back then. Like, if I could go back and just get a job like in a time machine, just like going back, like, yeah, dude, we're just gonna fill his fucking head up, man, with hamburger meat. We're just gonna blow it up. How long you been working? 18 hours. Like, why don't you take a nap?
I got a better idea. Condoms and apples.
I got it.
There's no way it's not.
Go to the store.
You think? I feel like Tom Savini just got so much respect at some point. He just didn't care. He was like, I wonder if people would let me do this. Mm-hmm. I don't know, condoms and apple cores. Fuck it. It's a great idea, Tom.
I hope they had like a Trevor and Corey that they're like, we need you to go to the store, get rope, condoms, apples, hamburger meat. Just like, what? Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's fun. I like the behind the scenes of the special effects, especially in those days, because they were innovating. You know, you're making a new fucking Avengers movie, dude. Like, there's a lot of stuff at your disposal because of these movies like this that went through a lot of the, how do we do this? What about, I mean, I know Rocky gets a lot of glory for the Steadicam shot as well, but look at The Shining. Kubrick putting that thing an inch from the ground, like, that hadn't been done before. That's why it looks so iconic. That's why it's so different. Horror movies build special effects. Nightmare on Elm Street, spinning the bed around, spinning the whole room around, just all kinds of stuff. At the time when Elm Street came out, that was like the longest fire stunt in a movie. So, but I mean, very low budget, random ass movie. I mean, it became successful, but I'm just saying, like, during the making of it, like, people would be like, what movie? I don't know. It's just horror movies, they deserve the respect in that regard.
Yeah. I always wondered how the killer had just the best timing of where to go. Like, so they're all at the ball, so one girl leaves pool. How did he know to go to the pool? After he kills the girl at the pool, how did he know to go down into the basement and find 2 other people banging? How does he know where to go?
He prowls, dude.
But how does he know?
His prowling
It's
senses.
it's like the maps at a mall. They're like, you're here. Like, how do they know that?
Yeah, that is true. That's a little skeptical.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why was the old creepy sergeant guy in a wheelchair in the middle of the yard?
It makes no sense. There was like no plot point to that. There was no arc to that. It just is just he was just there.
Why was he there?
I don't know. Maybe it's like a red herring. I don't know, to be like, is it him? Like, I don't know. But
I guess, but that was just that one moment, and then that was it. I was like, that's the only part I really didn't get. I was like, why is he there? I don't know.
it makes no sense. Do you remember the moments in American Werewolf from London where they had like the random soldier like that popped out like when he was hallucinating? Do you remember?
I think so.
He was like an SS soldier. That's what this reminds me of a lot too. I like too that we dim out the script. Like, we kind of like turn down the settings on the TVs back here so they're not too loud on the cameras. And like since we've done that, like it's kind of blacked his face out. It looks really cool. Like it's just kind of like a silhouette of him.
Yeah, you don't get many shots of him, which is good until like towards the end. Mm-hmm. So I like the quick subtle cuts to him real quick and then cut back.
For like a pretty lackluster reveal, him getting his fucking noggin blown off was pretty nice to see. That was a nice little touch. That helped out. I really appreciated that. Because I didn't think it would get that. Sometimes they make those endings with stabbings or like little long stabbings, or it takes a while. You don't expect. Remember when Art the Clown pulled out the gun and shot the girl? You're like, whoa, you've had a gun, bro? Yeah. Like, oh, this changes everything. Like, whenever guns pop out in slashers at certain moments, you're just like, oh, yeah, those exist. I forgot about those.
Another thing that this movie does is usually in horror movies when somebody gets killed in a shower, they don't show it. Mm-hmm. This one they do. They show a pitchfork with the titties flopping underneath it and everything. They went hard for that.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
That was a nice one.
That whole scene was you got the thing through the skull, best kill that you talked about earlier. Plus we have a pitchfork in the bathroom where it's full scent.
I like the throat slit. Like that one was pretty clean.
Well,
too.
He does it slow too with these kills. These are slow, brutal, and dragged out.
They feel very Giallo like almost like an Argento, Suspiria. I mean, whatever. Like it just kind of falls in those like, yep, we're gonna give you long ass up close and personal kills. Yeah. Here you go.
Even the girl in the pool. They even did a shot underwater where her neck was all the air was coming out of her neck while she was. That was
pretty cool.
Well, it was pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. It was a nice little display. Mark, it's been getting so hot out here. I've been like sitting on my balls. Has that ever happened?
Yes.
It's so hot out.
Yes.
It's not good. So, I mean, it is the sloppy, slutty summer season. So, I mean, it's heat wave time.
So hot, dude. You know how hot it is going to be tomorrow? It's going to be like a heat index of 104. That's with humidity, sir. That's not dry heat. Like what some of you people are experiencing. This is humidity.
Swamp ass.
The swamp ass is the air.
It ain't good.
Ain't good at all.
That's all right. Well, maybe you guys can stay inside and watch some scary movies. Get you some ice cream.
This was a pretty kick-ass band, though.
I did like the band in here, and they were like a nobody band.
Yeah.
They're like made it seem like they were a somebody.
When's the last time you went to a gathering, like not a bar or anything, but like an event where there was a live band?
I go quite often, actually.
No, I'm not talking like bars or festivals or anything. Like a private, like a ball or something like that, like a dance.
What about like a wedding?
Or a wedding.
Yeah, I get those a lot. There's a lot of my wife has a very big family, and her like uncles play in a lot of bands, and they do a lot of weddings. They do a lot of like.
No, I've never been to a wedding where there's a live band.
It's cool if they're good.
Yeah.
It's cool if they're good. Yeah. I mean, they're jamming, dog.
Because that's the thing in movies. You always got to have a big party. You got to have a live band. Those ridiculous parties that don't happen
They don't.
in real life.
Kids these days don't even care about prom and stuff.
They don't?
No.
Oh, I never did.
Like, we didn't, but, like, you know what I mean? It was a statement that we didn't. Like, now the kids that should care don't care. And it's like, no, you're not allowed to do that. You're supposed to like it.
Yeah, we tried to step up. We tried to... Oh, I'm so gassy.
I'm so
gassy. I'm sorry.
John Wayne Gassy.
Well, I'm John Wayne Gassy. I like that. I'm going to use that from now on.
Use and abuse it, brother.
Anyways, let's take a break here as I go to the bathroom and figure out more things about this movie. Hey, yo there, welcome to the one and only What Do You Know? Here's the segment here where we're here to tell you something that you may or may not know about this movie. If this is your first time here, we're going to tell you what we know. Now, you may know what we know, you may not know what we know, but if you know what we know, you're going to have a wee-no-gasm again. If you don't know what we know, you're about to find out what we know, and then you're going to have a wee-no-gasm just like the people who had a wee-no-gasm before. So then you all have something in common.
Bust the nuts.
So why don't you tell me something that you may or may not know about this movie here at the Prowlers?
Look, it's a very funny part in this movie.
Okay.
We's talking about.
Which one?
What a broad gets kicked in the fucking face trying to get out of the pool.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's trying to get out this pool here, and all of a sudden, boom, right to her face, right to her melon.
Yeah.
She falls back into the pool.
Right to the cranium.
She's disoriented. She doesn't know where she's at. You know how they did that, Mark? You know how they did that?
No.
They took a rubber foot and they just smacked the shit out of somebody in the face with it. It was Tom Savini. And he just smacked him in the face with it.
No, they didn't.
They did. Picture a big rubber foot smacking the shit out of somebody's face and how fun that would be to do. Okay? And just be mad that that's not your job. Somebody got paid to smack the shit out of somebody in the face with a rubber foot. And it wasn't me.
That's amazing.
I know. You know, you got almost just respected at that
I
point.
wanted it to be me.
I know. Well, maybe we got a future. Maybe, you know, who knows? Who knows? Maybe we could do something.
Where do you get a big rubber foot?
Probably a sex store. Seems like people put them in their offices. Feet people. You know, I don't know. They got problems. Because I think they stink. You know, there's nothing wrong with feet, but it's just, I don't want to fuck them. That's weird. Have you ever smelled, does your broad work?
Stop.
Does she ever come home from work?
Shut
She ever
the fuck up. Listen.
took them dogs out and you're like, look, put them shoes back on or get the fuck out of my premises. And you're like, I want to bang those feet.
Okay. All right. Okay, it's my turn.
Yeah, what's some facts you got?
Yeah. Mine isn't about big rubber feet dildos, but we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it anyway. So, this movie is called The Prowler. Now,
Prowlers.
surprise! Who would have guessed that this isn't the only idea for the film they were gonna call it? It was gonna be called something different. You want to know what it was supposed to be called?
What?
They wanted to call it Rosemary's Killer.
Oh.
Get it? Because it's, it is Rosemary's Killer, and they were trying to, capitalize off of Rosemary's Baby a little bit while it did that. But
Trying to capitalize off a
I
poor
like
baby.
the Prowler a lot better, as usual.
Prowlers.
The Prowlers.
Yeah.
I got the Prowlers.
I got a case of the Prowlers.
Prowler Sac OCT.
Yeah.
Or OTC. Whatever the heartburn medication is.
Yeah. I get that sometimes, it gets bad.
Yeah.
It gets bad inside of my stomach. And, it bends up.
You got too much. You got bad acid in there. You got to switch it out.
It's all that pastrami.
You need an oil change.
Excuse me, Doc. I need a fucking oil change or something.
I wonder if they could do that, a stomach acid transplant or something. Why don't humans get? Well, I guess you can get your stuff cleaned out, but.
Hey, doctor, will you suck all my guts out?
What's the thing called where they stick a tube up your ass and they clean you out?
I don't know.
Colonoscopy?
That's just where they check up there.
Oh, I thought that was no. That's the finger in the butt. That's a prostate exam.
Well, yeah, but the colonoscopy's like the camera one.
Oh.
You know what I'm
Well, what's the
talking
thing on Jackass where they stuck a tube up there and they just like sucked all this stuff out of them?
That's what some diet people do, weird people, and they're like, I want to go get the poo sucked out of me so I look thin tonight at the party.
Oh.
It's weird people. It's weird people out here. Just go poop. Bran muffin in the morning helps with that.
Okay. Do you know anything else about this movie?
I think that's it.
Okay, we're gonna go now.
Mark got a wild concept here. You know, and I've played around with this before.
Oh boy.
You know, like horror movie, dinner and a horror movie. You know, I used to make these kind of TikToks.
Okay.
Well, you know, you make a TikTok and do it with a movie, and you make a din-din. Obviously, like The Lost Boys and Chinese food, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and chili. What would you do for this movie? What would be the food that you feel like, look, it's what we're eating tonight?
I don't know. Cake?
Oh, well, there is cake in here.
Because there's cake in there.
I'm thinking this is like an Americana, like a burgers and fries, maybe a Coke in a bottle, maybe a root beer float.
Yeah, well, it is. It is very 40s inspired.
When's the last time you had a root beer float?
When I was a child, and I can't remember that far.
I'm gonna make you one.
Isn't a root beer float just like root beer and ice cream?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Uh-huh. It's worth it. It's worth it.
They are really good.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of root beer? Are you a mug root beer kind of guy, or are you an A&W kind of guy? Or what's the silver one? Barks. Yeah.
So I would go A&W for root beer. I would go Werner's for ginger ale. Yeah, but I'd go A&W, but I could drink them all.
Yeah.
Red cream soda is probably Barks, though.
Yeah, I haven't had a root beer in a long time.
Yeah, there's like 900 calories and 700 grams of sugar in one. But it's like, every once in a while you could treat yourself. If you got one of them days where you're like, I know I burned a fuckload of calories today, slam a root beer and treat yourself a little. Yeah. You know, one of those days where you're like, anything that's going in's going out. Like, I've had, you know, like working real hard outside and shit. You could eat a whole pizza just with no guilt. You're like, dude, you're like, I don't know where this is going, but I burnt it off. You know, and this is.
It's either gonna be burnt off or gonna hurt later when you poop.
Mm-hmm. But it's just
gonna spread it out, make it bleed.
It's like one of those things, dude. Like if you get like one of those people like working agriculture and like the South just sweating their ass off out in the field every day, they could probably drink 12 beers when they get off work and still have a six-pack.
Yeah, probably.
Like on their stomach, you know, because you're just like in constant motion for 18 hours a fucking day. Like, but yeah, that sounds like a good little pairing of that. Now, obviously, this is one of those flicks where I feel like A doesn't get enough attention, but it's really the bad guy who I don't think gets enough attention, and that's kind of the thing that upsets me with The Burning. Like, we don't get to see, you know, Cropsy. You don't hear many people talking about Cropsy. There's no sequels to it, which I kind of like. No sequel to The Prowler, like one and done. Like, I kind of like that. I just wish it was a little bit more legendary with the killers.
That's kind of hard, though, when they are one and done, though, because, you know, but they do it to where it is a one and done. Like, this dude gets his fucking melon blasted off. Like, there's no supernatural ability, but there's also, like, a human element, too, which I like, too.
I do too. When sometimes.
So he's not supernatural. He's not, some freak, or he's not some dream demon or nothing. He's just the dude.
That's the allure of Scream. Like, and too, like, there were guys that ended up dying at the end of the movie. So it's just like, all right, you just got to get a hold of these fuckers. Or there's got to, like, you got a chance. Because Jason, if you're, like, cornered and Jason's got you, you're done.
Right.
You're just going to rip your arm off, or, shove it up your ass.
Yep.
Don't do this to me, Jason. We could be pals. I wouldn't have let you drown, dog. He might have give you a hug. You don't know. You don't know.
You know what I noticed? This movie made me notice something.
What?
How annoying chewing gum is.
It can be.
Pay attention in the movie. Every character that has gum is the most annoying motherfucker.
Chews like a camel.
Yeah, they all do. Anybody that has gum in this movie chews like a camel.
Or like a real cocky cop.
Yeah, just like smiling. Just, like, dude,
stop doing that.
It's one of the most annoying things to me. That's
also when in the middle of the night when dogs do that noise.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, if you don't stop, you're gonna be homeless. Like, stop doing that.
My dog used to lick all through the night. I just wake up, you.
Stop doing that.
It's like, stop licking your private parts. Like, this is not the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till I'm asleep.
Yeah, you weirdo.
Oh.
That's just what they're good at. They're prowlers themselves. They're little prowlers themselves. But we talked about how the pitchfork can be used and multiple people can own the pitchfork. That's not a big deal. But how many people are using a sharpened bayonet? You don't see many.
No.
And he's like detached the bayonet. It's not on his weapon. He's just, de-shielding it there and just jamming it through people and slitting their throat with it. That's a pretty sharp bayonet.
Yeah, it is.
That's not a way you want to die. Like, even in like war, you don't want to die at all, but like somebody just comes over the hill and just sticks you with a bayonet. Nah, I'm good. I'm good on that. I don't want
I think everybody can agree that if you had the unfortunate event of going to battle in a war, this time frame is the one that you would want to go to. Because just guns most of the time, or explosions, but all those deaths are probably better than ancient times, getting fucking hacked off with a sword, a bow and arrow, or Civil War, like cannonball. Nah.
Yeah. Cannonball rolled off my leg. Yeah. It's infected. We gotta cut it off. No.
If only Christian Ramey came back in time and told us about pesticides or whatever the fuck he was talking about that he doesn't know how to explain. Anyway.
Pesticides. I don't remember that.
Let's talk about what this movie rates. I'm very interested to hear the score.
Sloppy horror rating, baby, yeah!
Oh, yeah. Baby, this is the one and only one-of-a-kind, world-famous, world-renowned Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. This is the only rating you'll ever need to pay attention to when you're talking about horror movies, okay? This is a system developed by Christian Ramey himself as he stares you down in his camera. He developed this. He's the horror nerd. He knows what makes a good movie, especially when it comes to horror. So he did this in a series of 4 categories. 3 of the categories worth 3 points. Last category's worth 1 point. For a total of
10 points altogether.
That's correct. I thought about waiting longer to do that, but audio people wouldn't get what you were doing there.
They wouldn't.
Only video people know what just happened there. So anyway.
Mark said we're going to do the whole next episode like ASMR. Like hey, everybody, welcome to the show. You guys like scary shit and dick in your mouth? This is the right show. I'm thinking about starting a channel like that, but just yelling at people, because a lot of people get off on that, you know, just go to sleep, you fucking retard, you know, and people might love that. I'm just telling you, there's people with issues out there.
Focus.
You're the reason your parents got a divorce.
Shut up. Oh.
Your parents couldn't stand you, so they divorced. You know, and people will go into a slumber.
No.
I don't know. People got problems, dude. But yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with the Prowlers. But that's a whole nother thing. I'll let you guys know when that starts up. We'll get a mark on there. He's mean. He'll put you guys right to bed.
No, don't put me on that. I will just cancel if you put me on it. Anyway, so let's get into the first category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is casting.
Probably its weakest category here. I'm feeling like this is a half a point casting. It's true to a slasher, but you don't even... not saying you need a recognizable face, but you're not really working with much here.
Everybody's forgettable practically in this movie. That say they didn't say, not trying to put them down like they didn't do a good job.
But they did a good job being disposable.
Yes, they did. They did a good job at doing their job. Excuse me. So that's 0.5 so far here on Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the second category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is kills.
Feeling a 2. Strong 2. There's just not enough variety to be a 3 or even a 2.5, but it is Tom Savini, and like the kills we do get are pretty they're pretty gory. Like if not like a Saw Hostel level of gory, but this is there's not much implied. This is a lot gorier than Halloween. This kind of went the Friday the 13th route, where it's like, yep, here it is, and your grill and your face.
Yes, that's a good way. I agree with that. So that's 2.5 so far here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the third, final 3-point category for half a point each here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast. No. What the fuck did I just say? It's hot down here. Excuse me. It's hot. I'm bloated. Give me a break. So let's go on to the third category here. Third, final 3-point category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is fear. I'm gonna fart so bad, but it isn't happening.
So I'm going to have to go with a half a point here, too. It's not scary whatsoever. Even in the time frame that it came out, I feel like this was probably more rad than it was fucking scary. It was just awesome. Like, it was just cool. I'm sure it terrified some people, but it's going to be a half a point as well.
Yeah, it will terrify somebody who's scared easily.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, some people, but I mean, to the general public, if they watch this, they ain't gonna lose sleep over this Prowler kind of thing.
Nope.
It's gonna be a little bit more shock value to them. Probably in that time it was too. Not scary at all. So that is 3.5. No, that's 3 so far here. So far here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, let's get in the final 1-point category for half a point each here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is rewatchability.
Yeah, it's getting 1 for me. This is a summer flick for me. This is and it's under 90 minutes.
It is. It's under 90 minutes, which is fantastic. It's definitely rewatchable to a T. I feel like if you were giving a history lesson on horror movie slashers, like a class, let's say the class is only 3 weeks, you definitely show this movie right up front.
I feel like this is a good party movie, too. Like, say if you're outside, got a movie on the projector, obviously with adults or whatever, like Halloween themed, and you got this on, it's just like, what? Yeah, you see some pretty gnarly kills. It's just the quintessential slasher.
It's a perfect fun movie, something mindless, or something to put on in the background when you want to check it out, come in from time to time.
And I think we can save the segment because I think, it's probably, I would say 16 and up for this one. There's a lot of titties.
Yeah,
there's a lot of blood and guts.
There's a lot of titties and a lot of blood and guts. You're correct. That's what I would go with. But if you're feeling ballsy,
5.
If you're one of those progressive people, you can go younger. But anyway, so that is a total of only 4 out of 10.
I'm one of these progressive people.
So far.
I named my kid Battery.
For the Prowler here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating.
Prowlers.
4 out of 10. There you go. Now you know.
That's a good score for it. That's a good score for it. It fits in that category. I want one of our fine fans to go through and take all of our episodes and make like a Hall of Fame of like where everything rates. Because I don't want to do it, but I want to know the info.
Yeah, I don't want to do it either.
Somebody's got to do it.
Someone's gotta do it.
You know what's funny?
Someone's gotta do it.
They do. You know what's really funny though, Mark?
What?
Like hysterical. Like laugh to the point where my sides hurt. Like where I can't even hold it in. I can't even hold it in. You know what's so funny? It's funny that you guys made it through this whole fucking episode without one damn commercial. Isn't that great? Yeah, there's no plugs for anything. I don't care what you eat, what you shave with, what you're fucking drinking today. We don't care about that because we give you an hour of horror entertainment for free, okay? But if you're looking for a fun, sexy way to support the show, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/sloppyhorror. On there, you can find all kinds of bonus episodes. You could be a member for as cheap as $3 a month. And what that does is it helps us keep the lights on around here, and we very much appreciate that. But if you're saying, I don't know if I'm interested in that, but I'd like some gear, I want to look fresh as fuck every time I go out and say, hey, world, I'm a sloppy whore. Let them know, all right? Let them know how you get down. And there's, no shame in my game. So you can go any of our episodes and our description below the videos or, within the description of the audio episodes, you can find a link for our merchandise and go buy something. Go out, support the show, support yourself. Look handsome, look beautiful, all right? Go out there and show the world that you support your show. And if you can't do that, just leave a like, leave a comment. Let us know where you're from. If you're watching the YouTube video, make sure that you're subscribing. And if you're an Apple listener, Spotify listener, probably take you 2 seconds to leave a rating. Be very much appreciated. We'd very much appreciate it. So, there you go. A little flavor for that ass. You like that?
I think we've been making people's asses sore for a while now.
No Vaseline. That's what Ice Cube said.
Nothing but sweat and tears.
And spit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And blood.
Mm-hmm. And gravy. You know what's weird?
Huh?
That people in the North don't do biscuits and gravy.
They don't?
No.
Is that only a Southern thing?
Yeah. Luckily, we're right here at the cusp.
We're not even in the South.
We're on the Mason-Dixon line, brother.
No, we're not.
We are. Anybody else in Ohio considers Cincinnati, Kentucky. And then it's like people in...
Oh, that's right. Well, the Mason-Dixon line was the Ohio River, wasn't it?
Slaves swam across that thing, and they was free. So we got a lot of Underground Railroad stuff here. So it's just like we're right there, an hour or two one way. It puts us, we're lucky enough we're in a biscuit and gravy world, is what I'm telling you.
No doubt.
Because some people are like, what is that? What do you mean you put, like, gravy on biscuits, like brown gravy? You're like, no, idiot. It's fucking sausage gravy.
Oh, dude. Biscuits and gravy is so goddamn good.
It's so good, dude.
Yep.
It's like not even fair how good it is. And if you're hungover at any point in your life, get you some biscuits and gravy in you. Put it in your body.
Just make sure you have nothing planned for like the next 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're going to want to take a nap.
Oh, yeah. And you might wake up and shit through a screen door. And that's okay.
But you're going to feel alive after you do it, though. I'll tell you what. It's going to get your whole mood going good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's worth it.
That's why I don't try not to go to the bathroom at Bengals games, because like people have been tailgating all morning, drinking and eating biscuits and gravy. Oh God.
Spraying the walls, brother.
The toilet system in that facility is probably immaculate.
Oh, it'd have to be. I don't know, it's probably all liquid.
A lot of cases of the squirts.
Yep.
That's disgusting.
Just a quick spray and go. Yeah. Everybody's had a couple rough football games where you're like, I'm a little junky. I'm a little fucked up.
Yeah, I remember how we went to that. What game did I take you to?
The Chiefs.
Oh, yeah, the Chiefs. I don't remember how I got in there.
I remember our friend was shirtless, and then you guys were yelling at Chiefs fans. and I was
Whoops.
like, and I was staying chill, but I'm also your friends, so like I'm like, all right, I got follow-ups. But they didn't want to smoke. But it was a fun time. It was a fun time.
It was a great time. So that time's coming up, so that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, football.
Yep. But so we're coming up here on one episode left for the Sloppy Summer season. One movie left. Christian Ramey. That's correct.
Sloppy, slutty summer season. Sally sells seashores by the seashore season.
Correct. Whatever the fuck you just said. So, do we have any kind of hints, clues, any kind of hints on what could be coming up next week for the season finale of the Slutty, Sloppy Summer season?
Dee Wallace. Excuse me. We have the actress Dee Wallace, legendary horror actress Dee Wallace,
Okay.
in an 80s movie.
Okay.
All right.
And that's about it. Is there an S in the title?
No,
Why?
because that wasn't the premise.
Yes, it was.
It was the summer season all along.
Well,
I almost went Summer of Horrors too.
I wanted an S in every title. I thought we were on a good run there. But you had to
I
fuck
think
it up.
well, here's the thing. Next week's title can also be similar to the Prowlers, and it
can?
can just and it actually I think works better.
Okay. Well, that's good.
So it's a Dee Wallace movie, and and I'm gonna tell you, it's a Dee Wallace movie in the '80s. Okay, but in this movie, she's not a mom. That's not her character arc as a mother.
Okay.
All right, and that should be enough for you guys.
I think so. I think anybody with any kind of horror knowledge could probably figure that out. I, on the other hand, don't, so I have no clue. And you gave me the list, and I still don't remember what the fuck movie it is. So,
It's Harry.
that's something. It's hairy.
Samsonite, Swami.
Huh?
You remember in Dumb and Dumber when you were trying to think of the name of the suitcase? Samsonite. That's still a great movie all these years later. Like, it's a movie where you're like, oh yeah, Dumb and Dumber, but like, throw it on and not laugh. I dare you.
It's very underrated, really.
How does he know I have gas?
Sold a dead bird to a blind kid.
Harry, I took care of it. Yeah, that's too much. That movie is too funny.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Well, folks, I look forward to the end of the sloppy, slutty summer season. And then obviously, you know what else? I mean, what'd you say was right around the corner that you're excited for, Mark?
Football?
You know what else takes place in that season? In the fall.
Halloween, right?
Hello, it's Halloween. Motherfuckers, we're about to give you the best Halloween season the Sloppy Horror Podcast has ever had. But here's the thing I need y'all to do for us. Is I need y'all to give us your best season as well, because you know people are going to be talking about spooky stuff and scary stuff. They're going to be wearing their scary little costumes. But we need your help to help promote this and make this a lot of fun. We're going to give you guys a lot of entertainment over the next couple weeks, and we need your guys' help to put it out there to the public, okay? If you're listening, okay, I need you guys to be on full support, full team go. You could be zero money. I don't give a shit about that. But telling a friend, making sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, just being there for the episodes and help spreading the word means so much. I mean, everybody's got social media and stuff. I'm sure you guys are following us on Instagram and Facebook.
Look, tell your parents about it. That'd be hilarious if they listen to this.
Yeah, wait till they're banging, kicking the door. Be like, hey, I know you guys banged because I'm alive, but you guys know about the Sloppy Horror Podcast. And they'll be like, all right. And you guys can have a moment.
Yep, that's exactly how it's going to go down. So try that.
Why does it smell like blue cheese in here? Blue cheese crumbles. You guys eating Cobb salad?
Stop. No. That's it.
That's your belly button?
All right, that's enough. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.